Okay, you're on.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Hope you all well. Oh, there we go. Fix that.
Are you tying up some for the weekend?
No, that's your challenge, guys.
I thought you were the instructor.
Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome to the Fly Ties Guild. Okay, I'm going to tie a fly tonight called. It's my own pattern, so I haven't really named it. It's one of my favorite patterns. Not a pattern that I catch all my fish on or a lot of fish on. This is a consistent pattern. So when I go away, especially in the competition scene, when you're fishing comps and the same water gets fished 3 or 4 times consecutively. So you have 3 hours on, 3 hours off, 3 hours on, and the fish see your woolly buggers, they see your muddlers, and they want something different. I'll tell you, I tied some of these patterns. I'll give the history behind it now. I was fishing with Christian Pretorius on Farelwater, where you guys are fishing this weekend, and everything we got a lot of fish and big fish, and it was time to mix things up because things were getting slow. The fish were coming up to our flies and turning away. They've seen the minnows, they've seen the damsels, they've seen the dragons. After a while, the fish get used to it. They get clever. So you need to put something a bit different profile. I'm going to speak a lot about profiles and triggers because at the end of the day, a fish doesn't eat this for a hopper or anything specific. It doesn't eat a woolly bugger because it looks like a damsel or a red-eyed damsel because it looks like a damsel. Most damsels these days don't look like a damsel. The thing is that a fish will eat something because it's optimistic. It's an optimistic feeder. So it'll find a key trigger in a pattern and eat it because it likes that trigger. So I'll always put way too many triggers into a fly and give the fish the choice of what to eat. A fish will always look for the positive, not always look at the fly and look for the negatives in the fly. Why won't it eat it? Rather say to itself why the fish would eat it, So always look to put too much in a fly. And so this pattern originates from when I went to Australia. Before I went to Australia 3 years ago to fish the Oceania Champs there, it was my first big competition, and I tied all these fancy upside down CDC flies, foam heads, diving dips, lips, all these fancy things we could come up with. Ask Gary, he helped me tie. We thought about the most amazing patterns, they looked pretty, but as soon as I got there, the fish didn't eat them. And the top flies for us was a Mrs. Simpson. First time I've used one in like 20 years. And then I'm only 24, so that's a long time. and that and a Bibio. A Bibio is an old English wet fly or Irish fly. And all it is, it's like peacock dubbing with a bit of red in the middle and palmed hackle. And those two simple, ugly flies, no movement, caught 80% of our fish. And the rest were woolly buggers, obviously. Yeah. So I came back to South Africa and I fished the Bibio, and I didn't catch a lot of fish in the Bibio. I worked really well in Australia and it didn't work well here. I don't know why. Maybe they have more beetles there. Just some fish like different things, So I mixed up a little bit with a hopper pattern, because when I'm on the water sometimes on the boat, we always see these hoppers floating next to us, all these funny looking natural insects. And I was on the water with Christian that day, and everything was slow. And we look on the side of the boat and we talk a bit of rubbish. And I see like copper hopper. That's one of my other patterns. It looks like a grasshopper, but just sparse stubby and just legs. And Christian says to me, Dad, that's the kind of stuff we need to imitate. You can't just drop woolly buggers to everything or throw a damsel because there might be damsels in the lake. We need to imitate what's on the lake. So I looked in my box and a few of these funny hopper things. I'll put them on, and first cast, second cast, third cast, fourth cast in. And since then, wherever I go, I don't catch all my fish on it, but it always catches fish. So when you're having those days when you catch your fish on your woolly buggers, on your flashy blobs or anything, and then it goes quiet, we all know the fish get used to our flies. Always have the fly as a backup fly, and you'll always get a few fish on it. Consistently always get a fish, because it imitates so many different things in the water. Okay, I'm going to tie a few different versions of it tonight. This is my one version I tied earlier. You'll see it's more sparse legs, it's got the hackle, it's got the hot spot, and it's got a lighter soft hackle and CDC around it. I'm going to tie a different version now while I go along, and I've got different colors here. You guys play around with it. I tie it in black and chartreuse, olives, blacks, black and reds, anything you want to, and mix it up because the fish want to see something different. So sometimes when you go for rainbows in the rivers, you could use an orange hotspot, they like that, or maybe grayling, they like the pink, So just mix it up, be creative. At the end of the day, if you imitate a pattern exactly, if everyone in the guild here has the same pattern in their box, you go fish the same dam, it's not going to work as well. The fish is going to know it. So the biggest secret, in my opinion, on fishing is fish the standard patterns, but have your own edge to them. Put your own colors. Put blue in it, yellow, pink. Make it with longer legs, shorter legs. Don't always try match someone's fly exactly. Make it your own and keep it like that. Okay, so I'm going to start off basically. I'm going to first give you a little marketing on fly tying tools. The guys that tie flies seriously know how important fly tying tools is. A good pair of scissors could change the neatness of your fly completely. I still tie very badly and very unneatly, so it doesn't affect my neatness. But Dr. Slicks have a nice range. I think Urban stocks them. We have a nice new scissors. They're called tungsten tips. Front of the vase. Okay, so these are tungsten carbon scissors, very sharp, very comfortable. Micro tip scissors, arrow scissors. We have a new bobbin called a titanium bobbin. It's much stronger, and then we have the normal ceramic bobbin. You guys are more than welcome to come play with them tonight while you tie. Maybe that'll be a good idea. Just come have a look here, and whatever you guys like, take and tie with tonight. I want to show you something as well. I use this a lot, and a lot of the competitor guys use it. It's called a hook file, a hook sharpener. What I always do when I hook a rock or I hook a lot of fish on a fly, you miss them. They're on and off, ons off, ons off. And all you do is you take your hook and you test it on your thumb. And if it sticks like that, then you know it's sharp. If it doesn't grip on your nail, you know it's blunt. And it just doesn't pierce a fish's mouth. And once it's blunt, you just take it like this, take the hook sharpener, put in the groove, push back twice, and it's like brand new. You don't have to throw away those flies. Okay, it's just a little trick. Available at your local fly fishing store. Okay, so I'm using a Gamakatsu S10 2S hook, available at both shops. It's a very strong hook, very nice gape, and very sharp. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay, I can continue. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping the hook with my nano silk. I'm using nano silk. You can use anything. I'm not particular about what I use. I use nano silk for everything now. It's thin and it's very strong. But yeah, and the white's nice because I use white for everything. Because if I need it to be black, I've got a permanent marker. And instead of carrying a whole collection of threads with me, I can go anywhere and I just take two or three spools of my white and I'm sorted. It just makes life easier. Carry enough stuff wherever we go. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a different version. You guys can play around with it. I'm going to use hackle for the body. You'll see the profile of this fly. It's a very small fly, but it pushes water. A lot of guys like to use blob, so always put a blob as their top fly. You know there's bright chenilles, oranges and pinks, and they have like a killer blob where it's got orange, pink and yellow all in the same thing. Just so the fish thinks oh no, it's not orange, it's multicolor, let me eat that. It's like eating candy floss for breakfast, no thank you. So I'd rather you tie a natural fly like this and put orange in it or put a bit of red in it. Let that be your trigger. You don't need to put something unnatural. Rather put something that looks a bit more lively. Now, I think those big bright flies scare them. I mean, I've got 4 rows of the blobs in my box, and I haven't used one for about 4 years. So I don't like them. But maybe that's what we'll do now. Let's tie a tractor natural pattern. So we'll put a bit of extra zing in it. Okay. I know guys like to use the bright color things. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to take some black saddle hackle. You can make it quite long. You don't have to be particular about the size. And whenever I start with a feather, I brush it out like that. Can you all see that? Okay.
Yeah, up a bit. There, that's it.
This is so uncomfortable. Okay, and then what I do, it goes like that. I go like that, and then I strip a few feathers.
Other left. No, too far.
Look behind you.
Okay. Okay, so what I do, you can either strip it or cut it, okay? The reason for that is that when you tie it in, you don't want to trap any feathers. Otherwise, the arse really looks like a balls up. So you want to stick it in like this, where it's flat there, and just tie it in there. So now everything's out the way, you aren't trapping any fibers in. Can we all see that? Okay, then you cut. The trick with fly tying, well, I actually learned this at the Guild a few years ago with Murray Pedder. He says to me, try to put as little thread as you can in a fly. When you try to wrap the material in, just 2 or 3 tight turns. Don't sit there and make bumps, you know. Let the materials build up the body, not only the thread. Okay. We start like that, tie it in backwards like that, and then I like to just play like that. And then this stuff's always going to get in your way, so just take it off. And keep it long. I like to keep it long because instead of struggling for space, instead of using hackle pliers, you've created your own hackle pliers there. And I'll show you a trick later as well when we cut it off. So keep that behind you. And then we're going to use black rabbit dubbing. I like to use peacock dubbing or peacock herl we've got for you guys. Just mix it up. Today's prize will go with creativity. So we'll see. Okay. So I'll mix it up a little bit today. I'm going to put a bit of natural black. When you tie it on this fly, you don't want to, can we see that? We don't want to put it tight on the thread because you're going to brush it out. So you're going to wrap it very loosely around like that, okay? Start all the way back and take the stuff, just pull the fibers back. See, I'm making very loose, just tying it down, okay? Then we're going to take red, the red, black, red, no, sorry, black, red, black is how they tie the Bibio. That's how you tie the Bibio pattern. Okay, I forgot to put my copper wire, but I'll put it in at the end. Actually a nice lesson. Okay, so we're going to put in a bit of orange. This is my attractor. Now it's up to you to decide how much attractor you want to put in. You can put in 3 different bright colors if you want to. I'm just going to put in the red. I'm not a big fan of bright colors in flies. You know, fish have if fish eating a size 30 fly, if you put in a little hot spot like that, I promise you could see it. You don't have to overdo it, you know. Less is more. It fits into this sentence. So I'm just putting a little bit. All I want to do is build it up. So it's very sparse, but I want to build up a nice portion. So like that. All see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to take peacock dubbing. You could use peacock herl, or you could just use the standard black. I like that contrasting. It's got the standard black, the bright red, and a bit of peacock. Just mix it up. Every time I tie a fly, even if I tied this last week and I'm going to tie more, every time I tie a fly, for some reason I tie it differently. There's no set instructions. You know, the fish promises don't say, it's got peacock this week and it's got copper the last week, so I'm not going to eat it this week. You know, I really think fishes are stupid. They're beautiful, but they're really stupid.
That sounds like a fish whisperer.
Okay, so there goes my peacock. That would be your standard Bibio pattern. You'll just palmer it, and that's your Bibio. But we're going to make it a lot tougher now. Okay, so it looks very messy. It's meant to look like that. A little trick. A lot of the guys, you'll see this is medium copper wire, but it's quite thick. And a lot of the time when you tie it in the butt here, it makes it very thick. You want it to taper thick to thin, going front to back. Okay, I'm not going to use my doctor sticks to cut this. So when you're going to cut the copper wire, you just turn it like that. Just twist it. You can tie it in at the front here. So hopefully it works. And just sparse You don't put them tied together, just to keep the flower together. Like that, and you put it at the back there. And it will hold. You don't have to tie it down. Okay. Then I'm going to take my hackle. I'm going to palmer it through the flower. Doesn't have to be neat or anything, just you don't want too much of it. Okay, now I want to finish off there. So what I do is I don't turn it and then tie it off. When I get to this stage, I pull off where I think I'm going to end. And then I finish palmering it. So now when I'm finished, I don't have to tie down. You know, you always tie at the end and the hackles go to one side. Now you tying down the stem on a clean stem. So the fibers don't go to one side and look home. So it's just a little trick we use. And if I was fishing in Australia, I'd tie off the flower right now. That's your standard Bibio. Before I cut the copper wire, I'll take my beautiful Dr. Slick tool. It's called a dubbing brush, or what they call it. I call it a dubbing brush. It's got brushes, so you don't normally. At home I have a whole bunch of hats. All my hats have dubbing in near the Velcro because I use that to frizz it out. I just take a little brush here, just go like this a little bit, and it just releases the dubbing. It makes it look a bit more, more lively, like that. You can make it like that. You want to squash it down a little bit so it faces a little bit backwards. Okay, guys, look good.
So far, so good.
Okay, then just go like this. It's supposed to come off. Done. Okay, so that would be your standard Bibio. Okay, now. Oh no. Okay, I made an oopsie there. Hopefully it fixes itself. Okay.
We'll take your face slightly towards the camera, very slightly. Whoa.
Not too
No,
far.
not too much. Go back, forward, forward, forward. That's it.
Yeah.
Stop moving your face.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is this is the challenging part of the knot. Okay, pheasant tail, black pheasant tail. You find 3 strands. Okay, that's more than 3. Okay, you're going to take 3 strands like that. You guys, if you're struggling to do this, to tie in the legs like that. You don't have to knot them. What you're going to do, you're going to knot them. You're going to just turn them over each other, put their back through like that. And what you can do as well, that helps me, so when you get to this stage, you're just going to put your scissors in. It's not easy. You have to have an office kind of thing. I don't.
Easier to buy them ready knotted.
Yeah, you can buy them ready knotted, so I do it. I used to use 2 strands, but I do find 3 strands to look. It looks much nicer. So I'm having a fight yet. So, okay, let me start again. I only have to do one of them because I pre-tied the rest earlier. Okay. Take 2. Through there. Through there. Through there. Done. Okay, what you can do here, a lot of guys like to do it, I'll do it just for the sake of it. You've got 3 strands there, 3 strands there. You can go to the knot there, cut off the one leg, the base of it. So now you have 3 feet, you can call it, and a thinner leg. Or you could tie 3 and have 1. It doesn't matter. So what I'll do now is I'll tie in. You can put up to 4 legs in, but I like to just do 2. So that's one there.
Why is it not so close?
Oh, you could do them. I don't. I'm not particular with my flies, so there you go. I really don't think the fish eat them because one leg looks nicer. I want to put four
Why
legs
is it
in.
pointing up as opposed to pointing down?
I'm doing 2 pointing up and 2 pointing down.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter.
It's a mutant.
Okay. It looks delicious. I'll eat that. Imagine the amount of protein in this meal.
Just hang fire, Barry. Do you want to jump in there?
Okay, let me just cut off these stems though.
No, I'll leave it there.
They look very out there at the moment, but once I put the collar on, you'll see they just go back a little bit. Okay. So that's how we are as it stands. Yummy.
Yippee.
What, the vase?
Yeah, just to get it.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's 4 legs. Most of the time I put in 2. But as I said, if you guys are struggling with the knot, you go just tie the feathers and tail in. You don't have to do the knots. Otherwise, you can ask Gary Steffens to help you. I'm sure he loves to make those kind of things. So. Or maybe you should just train your girlfriend and wives to do it for you, and then you come home and finish the fly. Am I pushing it? Look at her look, eh? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do quite a cool little thing. I'm going to take a black CDC feather, like that. And you can either take a partridge or we have black hackle. I'm going to take a partridge feather. You guys can do the same thing with the black hen cape. I think it's a hen cape. So I want to look for I want a soft feather but not too soft with a darker coloration. This feather's always hard to find. It's the only feather I don't have left on my cape. But I'll take one of these softer ones. Okay, so that's the one I've chosen. It's got a nice mottled effect. It's not soft. You want it to be quite hard partridge or hard feather because you want it to create that solid head. You want it to push water. You don't want the water for the head to collapse under the water. So what I'm going to do here, I do this for a lot of flies and nibs. Any of my soft hackle patterns I tie the same way. You straighten up one side. Take the black CDC feather one side. Make sure the concave is facing the same in or out. Put it on top of each other. Like that. All see that? And then I hold it at the tip of both feathers. Pull them out. You want when you put it in the magic tool, you want them to stand straight, not at the feathers. You want to pull them, brush them straight. You take the magic clip. You go like that. All see that? Then I'm going to take my tungsten scissors. I'm going to cut it on the one side of the stem. It's going to look like that. All see that? Okay. Now I'm sure you guys know how to split a thread. I'm going to show you again. I don't do a lot of dubbing loops. I find it much easier to split thread. People prefer their own ways, but so I like to do it. I find it much easier. Take the thread, put on your thumb. Take a hook point. Press down in the middle. Can you guys see what I'm doing there? Okay, then I put my finger in the hole, in the gap. Okay, then I'm going to take my my thread, I'm going to pre-spin it. A lot of guys find this difficult because they put the material in, then they spin it and the materials all fall out. So I'll show you now. This is a very quick and easy way. I'm a very lazy fly tyer because I like to tie quickly. I can't sit there and tie. This is my way. I spin it like this. Okay. Keep your finger open. I think I spin it a bit too much.
Quick fly fire. You've already been on there 25 minutes.
I get nervous, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it over there. Over, and then as soon as I let go, I take this and I pull down, and look how it spins itself. So it does the spinning for you, and all you can do is you can just go a little bit, place it, and your loops, everything's spun already for you. You don't have to sit there and materials fall out. And it was a close call because I cut it too close to the magic tape. So I was getting worried there. I thought it wasn't going to come out. Okay, so I just gently play with it. Doesn't have to be neat. You know, I believe that, I mean, I've been tying a long time, and some of my good mates have been tying for like 3 years. And they tie a far prettier fly than I tie. But, you know, at the end of the day, a fly will catch fish. You don't have to be too neat about it. Okay, so I'm going to make it like that. Do one turn, push it back. Oh, that doesn't look very neat. Second turn, pull it back. And a third time. Take all the feathers around it. Push everything forwards. Back, sorry. Dyslexic. Then what you must always do is, before you tie anything off, always spin your thread the other way. Because otherwise your thread's too tight. So when you try to tie it off, your thread snaps. And then you know it's a gemors. So I let that spin.
We shot for 25 minutes.
Okay. Then I tie it off. And build up a head. A lot of the time, I like to use orange thread as well. You can tie up an orange thread head. It doesn't always have to be white. But if I do tie white, like I normally do actually, I take permanent marker and I just mark the head. Then you take just tie it off however you want to tie it. Then I will finish it. Where it is.
You haven't learned how to finish it.
I can't find my tool. No, stop it, Charlie. That's disgusting. Okay, so I've tied it off there. Then you take your dubbing tool. You spread it out a little bit. And I always play around my fly before I cut off my thread. Because a lot of time you'll cut it off, and then while you're doing this, you'll pull out the knot. And it's happened to me too many times, and I don't like messing around. Like this, squash down the head. Play with it. And that's your subjective Hopper Bibio molestation. And there you go. Hopper. And at the end of the day, it's not, you know, it just imitates so much in the water. It's, there's so many different ways to fish it. And the way I like to fish it is on a floating line. I'll fish a 3-fly rig. This is normally my top fly. This is my attractor. It's weightless. It just sits there in the film, just under the surface film in the film. And I fish it static or little twitches and pause. But I promise you, have this in your leader, or you're going to catch fish in it. It just looks so edible, you know. It looks a lot more edible than a standard woolly bugger does. It's got life to it, and it moves. And in the water, it pushes water. The CDC moves. The legs push water in different directions. Sometimes it spins on either side. So it's just got so much movement, and the fish look for that movement. Also, you can fish it on a washing line, an intermediate or sinking line. You put a Bibio on point. You fish this your top or middle fly, and it just sits there. It's just food for the fish's mouth. So guys, try it, give it a shot, fish it, and let me know. You won't be disappointed. I promise. You'll catch on it. Guarantee you fish on this thing, eh?
Otherwise, money back.
Yeah. So guys, good luck, eh? If you need any help, just shout. There you go. Let's see. Hey, it's just
That's what I want to get, yes.
see-through bulldog.